All right, everybody. In this video, we are going to talk and demonstrate a little bit of the idea of equalization and frequencies in music and try to understand with a little bit of visual intuition what it is that we are doing as DJs with our mixer and the EQ functions. So it pulled up here on Ableton, just the software that we use to make music. And I've got this kind of spectrum visualizer here, which is going to show us the frequency of our track playing. And so you can see that there's these frequencies going from 0 to 100 here, and 100 to 1000 here, and 1000 to 10,000 kilohertz, apologies. And this is basically the audio, the perceptible audio field or frequencies that we as human beings can listen to. And so we're gonna see what the sounds like kick drums and claps and hats all sound like on this spectrum. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna play this track and just watch for how the waveform bounces as certain instruments and sounds are introduced. So you can see our kick drum is kind of hitting in around this 80 to almost 110 sort of area. So those sort of bassy frequencies live in that kind of area. And as we add in things like our hats, our hats are taking up higher ends of the frequencies. The shakers, same thing. They're kind of coming in at that level. Now we've got our bass line. We've added in some of these elements here between 100 and maybe 300. And there we go, we've got a bit of piano. We've actually lost some of the kick drum, and you can see our frequencies in the lower end have dropped off. We've added in some frequencies around in the middle between 800 to a little bit higher, 5,000 maybe. And now we're playing everything together. You can see we're bouncing all around. Amazing, 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 amazing. So as you can see, we kind of have our bass frequencies really in this lower end of the spectral visualizer, between 0 to maybe 100, and then our bass line's taking up something between 100 to 300 hertz or a little bit more, and then our pianos and our kind of melodic elements are sort of fitting in this middle area between 800 to say like 5,000. And then if you remember those hits and those hats and those shakers, we're taking up a little bit of that high end, 6,000 hertz plus into the 10 kilohertz range. So the reason I wanted to show you that was because I then want to show you what it is that we're doing when we're using things like equalizers on our mixer. And so to do that, I'm actually just going to pull up this tool here called EQ8 that allows me to actually remove and accentuate the volume of frequencies. Because that's what we're doing when we have our mixer and we're turning, for example, all of the bass counterclockwise to remove it. We are essentially removing all of that bass. We're kind of applying a filter, kind of like this equalizer, so that we cut out all of the frequencies that are below this range. So watch what happens when I move this frequency envelope, as it's known, and I cut out some of those frequencies below the 300 hertz mark. You'll notice that let me go ahead and I'll put this up there. You notice that the bass is not as prominent. We don't have as much of that kind of hardcore kick. And that's because we've basically gone and we've rolled all that frequency off. We haven't rolled off any of the high ends, and we haven't rolled off any of the mids. So those frequencies are all still perceptible. But even our bass line is playing and we still it feels flat. But we can go ahead, we can add all those elements back in by removing that filter or that frequency envelope. But now watch what happens when I actually drag the volume down. Right around that piano region of 800. We can't hear it anymore, and the frequencies are kind of gone. And we can do the same thing on our high end. We can actually remove that high end And we just have the bass now. And so we've removed those frequencies. We've kind of really decreased their volume. And it leaves us with this kind of flat sounding only bass elements. So I know that's a little bit more of a producer eye on this idea of frequencies and mixing, but I think it can give us a really good visual intuition so that when we jump on the decks in the next video, you can kind of imagine or visualize what it is that we're doing when we're turning these knobs counterclockwise and clockwise. So I'll see you in the next video.